This podcast is sponsored by our SA Rock and Metal Fans Facebook page.
Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Connor.
Hi, mate.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Yourself?
All right, cool, man. What do you do in the band?
So I'm the lead guitarist.
Hang on a second. Oh, you're the lead. Oh, okay. No wonder that makes sense. I was like, hang on a second. That was Ant's email address. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to extend an apology on Ant's behalf. His partner is very ill with COVID today, so he's looking after all his kids. I think she's been taken to hospital, so that's why he's not here. He was hoping to still be able to join us, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the case.
Oh, yeah, no, that's understandable. Well, extend our well wishes, man. Jeez.
Of course, mate. Yeah, I will do, of course. So you're stuck with me, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I'll stick with myself even if I have to, man. But yeah, welcome.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
How you guys been surviving the COVID shit, man?
It's difficult, mate, to be honest. I mean, as a band, collectively, we haven't been able to do anything. I haven't even seen the guys in the band for the last, 5 months, I think. So it's a very difficult time to be in a band, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
but,
I guess. Sorry, I was going to say, I guess creatively it can be really stifling.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. You got to do what you can individually, whether it's playing through the songs or trying to come up with new ideas, new riffs, new songs and things like that. But yeah, it has been difficult.
I mean, that's kind of interesting though, because I guess you got to keep yourself, pardon the pun, but in the rhythm and keep sort of like practice ready and keep going and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That's one big thing that I've been pushing myself towards, because obviously being stuck at home all the time, you can get sort of caught into a rhythm of just not doing anything, being lazy. So I try and play through the songs as much as possible, just so I can keep my chops up.
Yeah,
and stay ready.
Absolutely. And the West Midlands, I mean, I spoke to what's his name, Asa from Illyrian last night. Yeah. So I mean, you guys are part of the same scene, right?
Yeah. Well, we've played a few gigs with Illyrian. They won the Medal to the Masses when it was last on, and we were in the final with them, and we played a couple of gigs with them leading up to the final as well. So yeah, we know Illyrian quite well, and I'm actually personally quite a big fan of Illyrian. I love their music. Yeah,
it is really, really good. And I had quite an epic chat with Asa last night. So I mean, that was quite great. But let's talk about how can it be a debut album? I mean, you guys have been around since 2013.
Yeah. So this is where it gets hard for me to talk about the band, because I only actually joined in 2018.
Right. Okay. I saw the post looking for an experienced guitarist. Yeah, I saw that. I was no, what's going on in the band? Okay.
So we were. I think the guys had been through a few different lineup changes, and there had been releases, but they were EPs. So the debut is the debut full-length album. So it's our first, proper full-length release. And that's why we called it the debut album.
The basically. Debut album.
Yeah.
It's been dubbed the debut album, not Colossus.
Well, it is Colossus. That's the name, but yeah, it's also our debut album. For me, it's my first ever full-length release, and for the rest of the boys, it is too. So realistically, it's our debut album.
What is it like joining a band that's sort of been going around for that amount of time, and then you sort of like step in?
I couldn't say what it's like all the time, but for me, joining the Black Hounds, it was really easy. The guys were super nice, always trying to help me out if I ever had any questions about things, and got in touch with me and basically said, do you want to come down and have a jam with us? And I had a couple of jams with them, and then from there I was just straight into the band and pretty much straight into gigging as well. It was really easy for me, but that might be to do with how easy they made it for me.
Right, and what's your story then in terms of guitar and some backing vocals and stuff?
So I studied. I've got a bachelor's degree in contemporary music. Wow. I studied music in New Zealand before I came to the UK, and I majored in guitar performance. I played in a lot of bands and festivals, and covers bands, originals bands, things like that, before I came here. So I had quite a bit of experience, which probably helped me get my foot in the door at
Trying
first.
to place that accent, I was like, hang on a second. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixture, yeah. West Midlands and New Zealand.
Yeah, West Midlands Kiwi. Yeah, I was speaking to James from Temple of Mars a couple of weeks back, and I was like, "What's up with that accent, man?" And he said, "No, he's been living in London for like 13 years, but he comes from New Zealand, so a bit of a strange. I mean, West Midlands accent as it is pretty hectic. I mean, why did you come over then?
Well, I was actually born in the UK. I was born in Wolverhampton, but I moved to New Zealand with my mum when I was I was 11, and I lived in New Zealand for 15 years. So I knew people here. I had family, and I was looking for a bit of a change, something to pursue the music dream, that sort of deal. So that's why I came back.
Oh, I see Ant is trying to come in. He might be good to come in.
Okay, well,
fantastic.
That's good then.
Yeah, we can get a good history breakdown then. But
yeah,
that's interesting.
He knows a lot more than me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ant, how you doing? Oh wait, he's connecting audio.
Hey.
Ant, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you, man?
All right. How's the missus?
Yeah, not too good.
Shit, man.
Not breathe very well at the moment, but yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll be okay.
I hope all works out, man. Shivered. Thinking of you guys, man.
Thanks very much, man.
No worries, man. Let's get into it. I was just speaking to Connor about him coming over from, leaving the UK first to go to New Zealand, then coming back. What's your story with the Black Hounds? Because it all started in 2013, right?
Yeah. Well, I was playing with a different band at the time, and that band started to wind up. Was it 2014, 2015? And the Black Hounds, as it was at the time, were after another guitar player, just to do some live stuff. And I said, well, yeah, I'm not doing anything, so why not? So I went down to a few rehearsals. It was different to what I was doing before. I was doing like more kind of rock and roll stuff. But I went in, down, tuned the guitar, started playing some of the old songs, and then they got a gig at a place in our hometown called the Wolfen Hall as a support band. 1,000 tickets sold, so it was a big local event. They were main support, 45-minute set, and the singer left. The guy who actually got me into the band left, and because I was the front man for the previous band, they were all kind of standing around in the rehearsal room and said, okay. So what I think it was like, do you think you could like learn the songs in like a couple of weeks? Like, you what? So you want me to learn a 45-minute set well enough to entertain 1,000 people as a main support act and do all the crowd stick and everything? They're like, yeah, can you do that? And I'm like, well, you do realise that if I've fucked this up, this is not my fault. This is all yours. And they're like, yeah.
What you should have said was, hold my beer. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, that's. I had that conversation a couple of weeks later. So we got to the gig. And there was another guitar player with us, and Tom and Joe, the current lineup. I'd done a gig like this kind of size before, albeit much more well rehearsed. And the other two were downstairs. Joe was okay. Tom was a little bit more apprehensive, and it came to stage. Tom's, oh no, can you remember the songs? Do you know what you're going to do? Are you going to talk to the crowd at any point? And that was when I gave him the hold my beer.
you got this.
And I walked out. I mean, I was kind of trying to show a bit more confidence just to get him going, but inside I was thinking, please, make this go okay.
Now would not be a good time to shit myself.
No, it wasn't. Fortunately, the gods of rock and roll were on our side that night. went absolutely perfectly. The set was note perfect. Tom was, again, he was a little bit apprehensive. I can see him looking at me thinking, don't fuck this up, don't. And I did one of the older songs, which they used to do, had like a breakdown in the middle. You know, you could get a bit of crowd participation going. You could get a bit of call and response. And I thought, if I'm going for it with this size of crowd, I'm either going to go for it all in or nothing. So, you know, it was a massive crowd. I managed to split the crowd in half. I got one side cheering, one side clapping, the wall of death. You know, everything went on. And he just looked at me and it was like, oh shit, and that was it. I've never seen a guy come alive so quickly. He was like this Axeman Viking destroying everything, and he's been like that at every gig on stage ever since. So it was like, this has gone quite well. And then we had a rehearsal the week later, like, so what we're thinking was we're not going to bother getting another singer. And I said, yeah, don't worry, I'll do it.
Hold my keg. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you buy me more beer. Speaking of which.
And I'll take a sip from my Jack Daniels, man.
Yeah, I haven't had one of these in a week, so...
I mean, the good thing is you guys don't have lockdown that includes prohibition, so, you know, you can still go out and buy. We can't. We're fucked.
It's the only saviour we've got at the minute, mate, is that we can still go out and buy some beer.
Oh, you know, you haven't had a beer for a week.
No, I don't know that, actually.
Sorry. I know, yeah, I'm talking to the wrong dude here, so...
What is the favourite beer then?
I think we're probably all different. I'm actually a cider man. I like to drink cider. So there's one here.
Just take a beer and take a good beer and take a good cider, and you got a snake bite. Beautiful. Fuck you up nice and good and proper.
Absolutely.
Good old snake bite. The hangovers from snake bites are always terrible.
Particularly when you get older, man. Those become a lot longer.
Oh, don't tell me that. Mine are already 3 days long. Be hungover for the rest of my life. I'm 28.
Oh, fuck.
28.
Jesus God.
I know.
You make me feel old. Ironically, I look younger, but...
That's the funniest thing you've ever said.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know what? I actually did look younger until I started hanging around with these guys. And then,
they taught you how to drink, right?
I've never needed any help in that respect. Help getting back up maybe, but never.
This conversation's gone so fucking quickly. I like it.
What a great interview. So.
Good thing it's an adult podcast.
Let's talk about global illness and beer. What else in here?
We could just talk about politics and beer. There you go. Those mix very well together.
Yeah, let's just
do indeed.
I know jack shit about politics, so let's just stick to beer.
Yeah, just stick to the booze. Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, so let's head back to Colossus. That came out last year, right?
Yes, August last year.
I mean, that must have been like the middle of sort of lockdown or middle of the pandemic. Why release it? Why hold on to it? I guess it could be the answer.
It was, I think, because we'd worked on it, you know, so hard for nearly 2 years at that point. We had all the tracks finished, everything was recorded. We'd always planned on releasing it at around that time last year anyway. We'd actually hoped for a bit earlier. I think it would have been silly to just sit on it and have nothing going on when we couldn't do any gigs or anything at all. So at least releasing it and getting it out there on Spotify and, you know, social media, we get to do something while we're sat at home doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, have you got? Sorry, Ant, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's giving us a chance to actually, you know, keep ourselves relevant, to keep ourselves engaged with the fans, to giving us something to promote, giving us, we've done a few playthrough videos. We're going to do a few more.
And I guess people are really desperate for new stuff as well, you know, to keep them entertained.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's nothing going on in the live scene at the moment, so this is the only kind of media that people have at the moment. So we thought, okay, well, yeah, it's not ideal, but I'd rather release it now, stay relevant, stay in the game, and then, than kind of disappear off and have to start all over again in 12 months' time or whatever it's going to be.
Reinvent the wheel. It's not ideal. But is this the future of the business? This sort of like online stuff?
I think so, definitely. I think there's going to be a lot of this online stuff going on, especially when you've got things like Instagram, YouTube. It's all basically done online now, isn't it? You can't really make any money from selling albums. Obviously, live shows will always be the big thing, but yeah, I think this online stuff is the future of music.
I think the biggest problem with it being, if that's how it's going to head off, how are artists going to make their money?
Well, that's the thing. You have to hope that the people who control the revenue now, people like Amazon and Apple and Spotify, come to the party. I can't see it happening myself, So I think again, it's going to be live shows where people make their money.
I was thinking of setting up a Black Hounds OnlyFans account. So,
You make some money through that, mate. Definitely.
Yeah. Like 50 people see us running naked down the road. I mean, that
I'd rather pay 50p to not do it.
That might be a business
you know
idea.
what? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Pay us money, otherwise our Facebook goes naked. There we go. That's a genius idea.
Just give us a 4-pack of John Smiths and then you won't see us naked. Something like that.
Yeah, that'll do.
Pay us a beer.
Oh,
That'd be
Smith,
great.
I haven't drunk that since I was about 12.
John Smiths is it's my favourite when I was over there. That and the Spitfire, I like that.
Oh, Spitfire's good. I like Spitfire.
Yeah, it's really nice. Let's talk about influences for the Black Hounds and for each of you, because this is gonna. I have my thoughts, but I'd love to hear what yours are.
Wow. I think it's so varied amongst the members. I mean, my kind of guitar influences are people like Zakk Wylde and Slash. I tend to go for the kind of mainstream rock superheroes. I'm not very inventive with that kind of thing. Anything from I listen to a lot of classic rock, a lot of stuff from like 60s and 70s, right up to what was that? I had Revocation on this morning, so some kind of tech death metal. So anything, anything in between.
Because your vocals on the album are like so varied, but it's so like it's terrible to say to an artist you sound like. So I'm not going to do that, but the music combined with your vocals, it's just such a classic hard rock sound. Because to me, it doesn't sound metal. I mean, it's heavy as fuck. My favorite track is Part of the Machine. That just I've listened to about 7 or 8 times in a row, and I can't get enough of that song. I love that song.
I love the riff to that. I think that's got a proper big bang in your face riff that just I love that one. And there's a bit in that song as well, coming out the guitar solo, and he kind of always laughs at me about this, but there's that one note that he holds coming out that solo that goes over the chorus when it comes back in, and every time it gets me.
Okay, I'm going to listen out for that when I listen next, man.
Yeah,
that song is huge. That is killer. I mean, this is what I find amazing is that bands that have been going for so long, regardless if there's been lineup changes and everything, the pedigree of the band still carries on, doesn't it? It still filters through to the recordings and live shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's changed a bit since Comic came in the band. I mean, he's brought a new influence, a new kind of perspective on things, I remember when we first started kind of writing, and it was like, oh yeah, I've got a few song ideas, and he started sending us these kind of like pre-production demos. So we're like, shit, yeah, these are okay. Most of which became the albums. They were pretty good. It's just, I don't know how he does it, man. It's like, oh, Connor, have you got an idea? Yeah, give me 5 minutes. Then he sends you like a 7-minute epic. I was like, right, okay.
Go on, Connor, how do you do it, man? How do you sort of get that inspiration to do that?
I drink a lot. I do drink a lot. Yeah, but no, I've always really liked just composing, you know, and being a big fan of metal music. I do a lot of metal composition. There's a lot of stuff that I've got lying around. You know, I've got hundreds of compositions just sitting on hard drives, or you know, things that are only like 2 minutes long that are half finished. And every now and again, I revisit them and I go like, "Oh, this might sound cool if I put it in this key and do this with it." You know, and they end up becoming songs that way. So,
right, the Black Hounds vault. Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Yeah,
the next 50 albums are sorted.
Every time he goes into that vault, it's oh man. We've just started working on a new one, haven't we? A couple of weeks ago, and there's what would you say, Connor? Would you say it's a thrash kind of riff in the middle?
Yeah, it's definitely that middle riff is a bit thrashy.
It's got almost that kind of machine head when they go into breakdown mode, breakneck speed, and I was like, Jesus, mate, how do you expect us to play this? And we went and had a little bit of a jam together, kind of going through it, and I was like, oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, this is going to be
proper. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's loads of cool stuff. I mean, you mentioned like the kind of classic hard rock kind of sound that's still there. I mean, that comes, I think, from me with what I was doing previously, and then kind of Connor will come in and suggest something. I mean, when, for example, when we were writing Colossus, the track, we went in and we were playing the riffs through and we got it down. Connor had some lyrics set out for it, and he said, here's what we're going to do. You sing that bit, and I'm going to sing that bit, and then you sing that bit. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. And so I started singing it, got a feel for the melody for it. So right, okay, let's do it again. So I'm really into it at this point. I'm in the zone. I'm going. I've got the melody. I'm starting to bring the big guns out. And all of a sudden, he comes in that roar, and I was like, what? Whoa! What the fuck was that? And it was like, what do you mean? I said, well, we've never done anything like that before. And he said, did it work? I said, it kind of did actually. Yeah. You know what? Let's try it again. And I think we did it like 2 or 3 times, and then we got it to a point where it was like really cooking. It was like, you know what? Yeah, that's the new shit. That is that's gonna work.
Nice, man. So Connor, what are your influences then?
Mine are super varied.
Like post-hardcore Japanese pan flute.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could definitely get into it. No, I had before I joined the band, I had a lot of sort of more prog influences. I was a big fan of bands like Dream Theater and Symphony X. Opeth was the biggest one. I've always loved Opeth. They're one of my favourite bands. So that's like a prog death metal influence there. But you know, again, like all the classic metal bands that most people would be saying, Metallica, Slayer, people like Lamb of God and things like that. So I've got loads and loads of different influences, all the way to things like Stevie Wonder, Jimi Hendrix. There's still room for that kind of funk rhythm in metal, especially in tracks like
Stevie.
Stevie Wonder,
absolute
legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a hard question to answer.
I was just going to say that it can't be easy, because if it's such a how do you incorporate that sort of stuff then into an album? You know, your influences, or do you?
Oh yeah, I definitely do. All the time. I think sometimes it's hard to pick it out and say, oh, that's come from there. But there's plenty of things, even in Colossus, where there's parts of riffs or little transition sections that are taken. I wouldn't say note for note, but the idea has come from something to do with, you know, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, for example. I've got loads and loads of things. I get inspired by other people's music. I hear it and I go, I want to do something like that.
How
so
hard
that's-
is it to come up with something original that can't be, somebody listens to it and goes, oh yeah, this kind of sounds like this or like that.
Well, it's, there's 12 notes in music, mate. At the end of the day, there's never any chance that you'll come up with something totally original.
No.
It's
I think,
just
unfortunately,
impossible.
the heavier stuff, I think kind of Zeppelin and Sabbath covered that much ground in such a short space of time. They didn't leave it very easy for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean they nicked it from the
but,
blues, not so much Sabbath, but definitely Zeppelin did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it can be quite difficult. I mean, there's a lot of metal bands that I listen to that sound very similar. I still listen to them. I still love them. I still spend money on their music and their merch. But there is a lot of similarity out there. But I think where we were fortunate with Colossus, I don't think we tried to do anything specific. So we came up with something that was, as you said, it's heavy as fuck, but it's still got the kind of hard rock root in some spaces.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it doesn't sound confused. So we don't know what we're trying to do. It definitely sounds like we've got something specific there, but I don't think you can pinpoint it. You can't say, oh yeah, they're an out and out metal band. You can't say they're an out and out rock band. There's it's got there's something there for everybody.
Yeah,
and I don't think it was necessarily a conscious thing, but that's how it's come through. And I mean, I think it works. So.
No, it definitely does. Yeah, absolutely. And I must just let everybody know that's listening, Colossus by the Black Hounds is out on all digital platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, wherever the hell you want to get it from. And also a shout out to Matt from Unearthed Music for hooking me up to chat to Anton Connor tonight. So you touched on a little bit earlier. You said there was some new stuff in the works. What can you tell us about that?
That's probably my department, I think.
Yes, mate.
Off to the vault he goes.
I come in when I'm needed. So
we've got sort of one full track that I've put together and sent a demo out to the lads. Generally, the way we work is I'll put a track together and then I'll put some basic bass, drums, and things to it. I'll send it to the lads. They'll put their own parts to it, do whatever they want to it, and then we get into the room together, and that's when we sort of troubleshoot it and go, actually, in this section we should do this, or maybe we should do this here. And
how possible is that now with COVID?
Well, obviously at the minute it's not very possible, but everyone's going to be able to do their own parts. So, like I say, I make the demo and then I send it out. I'll send one to Joe that doesn't have any drums in it, so he can write his own drum lines. I'll send one to Tom and he can do his own bass stuff. So we got that. That's one track definitely fully finished, ready to be worked on when we get back.
All right.
That one's going to be an absolute beast. I'm really looking forward to getting into that one.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Okay.
I think you could just say it's the next step after what we've done in Colossus.
Okay.
Moving into some more. There's a lot of groove to it still, like there always has been for the Black Hounds, I think.
That's interesting you say that, groove, because in your bio it says you are a groove metal band. And there's something about that saying that and listening to something like a Part of the Machine. There is that drum beat and that rhythm and that oh man, that's a good song. Fuck.
See, I love it when the riffs get that.
There's Joe to thank for that, I think, because Joe is such a great drummer. He's such a great drummer.
The album's a beast, man. It's a fucking beast, that album. It is such a good album. I was listening to it earlier, and the missus was like, well, why are you tapping so much on the ground? I said, you haven't heard this music. It's fucking immense. It's great. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, my man. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's talk about gigs. A little bit of a fun section this now. What's the funniest shit that's ever happened at a gig?
And you take this one, mate.
I gotta think carefully. Oh man, funniest shit that's ever happened at a gig.
Or on tour. Doesn't have to necessarily be at a gig, but you know.
Oh yeah, again, I gotta be really careful. I mean, I remember. We played a gig in a little place in Worcester, and we were stopping there overnight, and we said, we're dressed as the Black Hounds. We've all got all got the jeans and the rock t-shirts, the chains, the beards, the leather jackets, the usual shit that goes with it, the metal uniform. We've played the gig, we're drinking the beers, we're having fun, but it's something the best night. So we're like, you know what, let's keep the night going. Where can we go? The bar was closing early, and we said, where can we go? Well, there's a nightclub here. It was like a little village out in the middle of nowhere. So there's a nightclub here called Marilyn's. Yeah, that'll do.
I think I've got an idea where this is going, but anyway.
So we rock up, and this club, it was like a time warp out of 1995. They were playing dance tunes that were on some of the Now records when I was at school, and there was kids in their polo shirts and their trainers without their socks on dancing.
Oh no!
Tom, Joe, and Luke, as it was at the time. I mean, I think Luke was probably the shortest, and he's 6'2". So we all kind of rock in, and this dance floor just parts. Everyone just moves. And I mean, Tom's a mountain of a dude, and he's just kind of stood in the middle of these kind of big bin. He's got a mohawk at the time. He's just looking at everyone. I'm just thinking, yeah, this is going well. So we go over to the bar. We're doing some shots and whatever, and then we walk back onto the dance floor. Now, I've gathered all the straws up out of I've basically reached behind the bar and got all the straws. I've stuck them all in Tom's beard and on his hair, so he looks like Hellraiser. And he just walks onto the dance floor with kind of two beers, and he's dancing to, I don't know, something you would never ever see this man dancing to. And and everyone's just looking at him like he's going to kill somebody. He's just like launching straws at people like javelins. It wasn't the best. And then the rest of it, it didn't go so well. We got back to the venue. We'd locked ourselves out. The rest of it I don't remember until we woke up in the morning and found the door had been kicked off the hinges. We don't know who did it. One of us definitely opened the door the wrong way. The venue owner hadn't woken up yet, so we just bailed. He's a nice guy, but I haven't heard from him since. I'm sure some funny shit happened in Cardiff as well when we were there, but I can't really remember. I was trying to convince these lot to go to a strip club, but nobody's.
Hey, Connor, over to you, man.
Funniest thing that's ever happened at a gig. Didn't happen to me during a Black Hounds gig, but it's a story I'll tell for the rest of my life when people ask about gigs. When I was studying music, I was in a covers band. We used to play on the weekends to make some money in pubs and clubs and things. We got a gig, which was quite a well-paying gig, in a working men's club in the town where I was living at the time. I remember we weren't a great covers band, but we got the job done. We were a three-piece, no fuss, just play the songs, get in, get out. We were in our second set, and it was the middle of winter. It had been snowing profusely on that day. We were in their second set, we were playing some songs. Everyone was quite drunk because these working men's clubs always had very cheap food. Yeah. And they were always sort of filled with sort of your over 60s. There's a lot of, that sort of age group people there on the dance floor, whatnot. And I'm halfway through the song. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a Bruno Mars song or something like that. Sitting there playing it, and there's this lady, and I can see her, she's very drunk, and she was probably 60, 65. She's jumping up and down, and she's really drunk, and it unfolded in front of me in slow motion.
Oh God!
Sitting there, she's jumping up and down, and all of a sudden, something gave way in her attire, let's say. Oh. And the boys came out to say hello, and I remember standing there watching this, and all of a sudden they're bouncing around, and no one else in the room has noticed. Everyone else is watching me because I'm singing, but I'm staring straight at this woman, and I forgot all the words. I I didn't even know what chord I was playing. I was just sitting there, and I was like, "Wow." In the end, she got dragged out by some bouncers, and she was told she had to leave. But the thing is, I always remember that was the first pair of tits I saw when I was in stage. 100% true story.
The bouncers were taking the bouncers out. That's brilliant. Oh, yeah. You can't script that shit, man. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I remember doing a gig once. This was one of the most insane shows I ever played with my old band, and I oversold it, so it was absolutely heaving in there. The amount of shit we got into that gig, but it was going great. There was crowd surfers there. There was people falling over the barrier. There was booze flying everywhere. It was insane. And I thought, no, see how far we can push the crowd. So I'm asking them to do one thing, they're doing it. I'm asking them to do another thing. I said, let me get some underwear. And I get a pair of spoiled boxers thrown. Dangling off the mic. They're dangling off the mic stand, and I'm trying to finish the song, and these fucking boxers with holes in and some sort of just dangling off. I was like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's a shit way to end the evening.
The thing is, I get these boxers off very carefully.
Oh,
and there's these girls at the front and they're absolutely shit-faced. So I just lean over and
literally
put these boxes on one of their heads like a hat. And she's there wearing these things, jumping up and down. Everyone's looking at her going, oh no. And oh
God, that is absolutely disgusting, but fucking hilarious. God. Okay, all right. So we're running out of time now. Let's have Connor. Let's get your rig rundown. What do you play on?
Okay, so guitar-wise, for the album at least, I have an extended range Iron Label Ibanez RGD. I use that to record all of my guitar through the album. I recently did buy a solar guitar as well for Christmas as a Christmas present to myself. So that'll probably feature somewhat in the next one.
Nice.
Amp, I have a Laney Ironheart 120 watt, and that's again used all the way through the album for all the tones. Effects wise, I'm not a big effects user, so most of the effects that you hear on my guitar throughout the album are all done post-recording, thanks to Mike at Fall Studios, who was he was a big part of the album, a very big part of it. So yeah, and I think amp cabinet wise, we mixed a few together, but I think mostly I was playing through a Marshall cabinet of some sort.
Nice.
But again, that was mostly down to Mikey and what he thought was going to sound best. We trusted him quite a lot. So yeah, I'm fairly simple rig-wise. That's it. Yeah. Guitar, amp.
That's really simple. I mean, I was speaking to a guy the other day, and he had 17 fucking pedals. I mean, it's fucking insane. Anyway, fuck it. That's another podcast altogether. And what's your rig, man? What are you playing on?
So for the album, I used an ESP Eclipse.
Oh, nice.
Stunning guitar that I picked up from a little music shop in the middle of Shropshire somewhere. And a Mayonnaise Cetius with some bare knuckle pickups in. Awesome guitar. Amp-wise, I've got a EVH 5153 100.
Damn.
Which I used. Yeah, I love the sound of the 100 watt. It's just got this really. It just sounds huge.
Yeah.
When I watch that, it sounds massive. I run the blue channel, and that's a channel 2, which is a slightly lower gain channel, slightly darker channel, with a Maxon OD9 tube screamer through the front. Just clean, just to give it a little bit of kick, with a noise gate on it as well. And I've always got a tiny bit of delay on there, which is a TC Electronics delay, and I've got the Zach Wild chorus again. Both of them just really, really subtle, so you only really get it at the kind of big volume, just to give the sound a little bit of width.
Nothing wrong with anything Zach Wild, man. Jesus.
No, absolutely. And I've got an old Dunlop 95Q Crybaby, which is it's the fibre optic wire, so it's got the pressure sensitive switch on it.
Nice.
With an active Q switch. Well, yeah, it's really, really cool. I mean, I've had the same settings on it for about 10 years, but it's an absolutely awesome wah pedal, and it's just because it's spring loaded, and you can just kick your foot out, just do some really, subtle little trolls. It's it's really, really cool.
Nice. Great rig rundown, man, guys. So I just want to say thanks for popping in tonight and having a chat. And Anta, I really do hope that the missus is going to be okay. I'm sure she will. And I hope everything goes well, man.
Much appreciated.
And also, just again, a shout out to Matt from Unearthed Music for hooking us up to have this chat. And everybody that's listening, the Black Hounds, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever the hell you want to get your music from, all digital platforms. Colossus is the debut album released last year, and there's new stuff in the works. So, Ant and Connor, thank you so much, man. I hope you guys be safe over there, and let's do this again when the new album's ready.
We'd love to, mate. Thank you very much for having us.
Absolute pleasure, guys. Keep well. Enjoy those beers.
You too, mate. Have a good one.
Alrighty.
Dude, take care. Thanks very much, man.
Alrighty, Ant. Cheers, guys.
See you, mate. Bye.